Hello, everybody. This is Franklin with First 1,000 Hours. I know in January, I was talking about having a big language learning goal. And in 2019, in January, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up a little bit. But anyway, let me just try to start that again. Hello, everybody. My name is Franklin. This is my second live stream for First 1,000 Hours, so I'm still getting used to everything. But I remember in January of this year, I was talking about having a big goal. And my big goal for this year is to read 12 Spanish books. And I just wanted to share with you an update about that. And my update is that I'm still on book number one. So I have a long way to go. I've only read about 350 to 340 to 350 pages into this book. It's called Hogar Cristiano. And after this video is done, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so that you can read Hogar Cristiano if you want to. That's talking about the Christian home. And so I only have read one book in Spanish. So the question is, can I really get up to 12 books? And if I go in the same way that I'm going, I'm not going to get up to my goal. And I have some hope though. I was watching a video in Spanish about how to read 52 books in a year, and it was very encouraging because it is possible. The person went through the math and everything, and basically he came to the conclusion that if you read 43 minutes a day, you can read 52 books in 1 year. And that just blew my mind. I was a little encouraged by that because when you think about the fact that, oh man, I'm on book one, I'm still on book one. How am I going to get to book 12? And how can this actually be possible? It is possible, but again, it requires dedication, it requires focus, and it requires someone doing something consistently over a long period of time. So I have to look at this as a marathon and all of that. And I'm sure that I believe that the books that person was talking about was not just maybe a 500-page book. Like this book I'm trying to read is around at least 500 or more pages. But I think probably the books were around 100 pages or something like that. But hey, it's still possible to read that many pages. I think he probably mentioned the amount of pages that he was basing his calculations on, but I just didn't really pick that up. So I'm just assuming it was around 100 pages. But nevertheless, there's still time in this year where I can read my 12 books, but I have to make some improvements. So this is what I want to talk about, and maybe you can look at how you're doing in your language learning journey, and maybe, hey Kina, oh, this is awesome. Okay, so I'm really glad that you are watching the live stream. I'm just talking about my progress in language learning, and I just wanted to say as well that I'm still on book number one. So it's like, okay, I'm on book number one. What am I going to do? But what I was just saying is that if it is still possible to read 12 books this year, but what I need to do is I need to really prioritize reading. And so what does that mean for me? What that means for myself is I need to approach reading like I read my first Spanish book. I did my reading goals in the morning before I went to work. And so I think I still have to do the same thing. I still need to get ready. Hey, Naturally Tay, it's nice to see you as well. I need to do my language learning reading in the morning before I go to work. And I believe if I do that and go to bed at a good time, then I can actually read 12 books this year. I like to go to bed when I want to go to bed. And I know that's not the best thing to do. And maybe Kina or Natural Totally, you can relate to that. I don't know. But I don't want to have a schedule. But I think that people that really have goals and ambitions and things like that, what they do is they have objectives and they adjust their life to meet those objectives. And so if this is going to be something serious for myself, then I have to take it seriously. And you could maybe ask, like, why do I want to read 12 books in Spanish? What's the whole point of doing that? I read 6 books last year. That's nice. So why do 12? But I think if I'm really serious about being on a language learning marathon, I have to continue to push myself. And so I was just thinking about this. It's like this. Let's say that I was running a marathon or training for a marathon, and I could only run like for 5 minutes or something like that. But I'm training for a marathon. I have to actually practice until I can get my endurance up so that I can run longer. So it might be 5 minutes before I start walking, right? And getting out of breath. Then I might have to improve so I can get to 6 minutes or 7 minutes or 8 minutes. And I think it's the same with language learning. Last year, for the whole year, I was excited if I could just read 450 pages. That was amazing. And I got to the point where I was able to read more than that, and reading those 6 books. And I'm about to surpass that goal, even before the year's over in 2019. But I need to do better than that. So my second book I want to read is something called Desire of Ages. It's about the life of Christ. I don't know what it's called in Spanish. It's like El Deseo de los Todo Gentes. It's about the life of Christ, but it's 800 pages long, okay? And how I'm reading my books is I'm using LingQ, and I will be talking more about LingQ later. It helps me read faster, so that's really cool. And if you don't want to get LingQ, then I have done a tutorial video kind of how you can use Google Translate to help you read faster. And that I did that last week. And I will be doing a video about LingQ in the future. And I will leave a link about LingQ in the description of this video. It will be an affiliate link. And then another book I want to read is called Depression: The Way Out. I don't know what it's called in Spanish, but that's probably at least 300 pages long. And that's a hardback book. So I won't be able to use like Google Translate or LingQ like in an electronic way because the book is not digitized to my knowledge. So that's going to be a challenge. But I could say that the reason why, again, I haven't really met my reading goals is because, I need to get to a higher level of Spanish, but really it's because I've been a little bit lazy in my priorities. So I'll be reassessing that. And then the other books that I probably are going to be reading in Spanish will probably be around 100 pages. So it's still possible, especially if I get through Hogar Cristiano, Desire of Ages, and Depression: The Way Out, and in the next quarter. So the next quarter would be until June 2019, or if I get a far way in that, and I will be giving an update on my progress in June 2019, or at least that's my goal. And I'm interested in what y'all think about this as well. Like with quarter number 1, how have you done in quarter number 1 with your language learning progress? Are there things that you think you can improve upon, or what are the successes that you've had? Please let me know, and I will be interested in that. I want to share some of my highlights as well in this first quarter. I was able to help assist someone on the phone in Spanish multiple times. Now, that is a big challenge, talking on the phone, because there are no visual cues. And so when you're talking on the phone, you have to kind of really understand what people are saying, and it's in real time. So with my language learning partner, what I was able to do is we were able to WhatsApp, but we didn't really WhatsApp in real time. We would, my language learning partner would send me an audio clip, and then I would have time to listen to it one time, then another time, and all of this. But then I could, be prepared to understand it, listening to it multiple times, and then I would respond. But when I'm listening to someone on the phone in real time, I have to know what they're saying. I have to know, and then I obviously have to know what I'm saying, but it's easier to know what I'm saying because I know what I'm saying in my mind at least. And even if it's not totally communicated the exact way I want it to come out, at least I know what I'm saying. But listening comprehension was important. So that has picked up as I've continued to immerse myself in Spanish. And thanks for that, Natural Totally, I think. Thanks for your comment. And yeah, I thank God for some of the progress that's been able to happen. Now, this is kind of funny. This is not really my success, but I thought this was kind of funny. I have changed my language settings, like with GoDaddy and things like that, into Spanish. And so one time I was calling last year GoDaddy because I needed to do something with some type of website or something like that. And so my language settings were set in Spanish. And so what happened was when I called GoDaddy, what happened was they actually sent me to a call center where someone was speaking in Spanish. So I'm like, what in the world? I'm hearing Spanish and it was hard. I was challenged. And I was like, I said in the best Spanish I could, hey, I need to talk to someone in English because it was just a little bit difficult. And I think talking in those technical terms would still be a little challenging for me today. But I was able to do something a little bit simpler when I was helping the person. I'm seeing that Spanish for me is turning into more than just a hobby, but it's turning into talent. But if I really want to be serious and turn it into talent, I need to continue. So I saw Kina, you said something, and I'm going to try to find out what you just said. Okay, you said I haven't done as much as I planned for this first quarter, but any progress is progress. That's a very important point. And then you said it went away. Let's try that again. Let's see. Doing this on my phone. I realized I need to make weekly goals so I know what I'm going to focus on. I've been all over the place. Okay, that's good. And it's true. Progress is progress. Hey, I mean, we could have not done anything, So we have to be excited about our little victories, and that's important to do. And so I'm glad that you made progress. And for me, I mean, I am reading almost every day in Spanish. Okay, it's easier for me to listen to things and watch things in Spanish. So I have not made that a goal because that's what I do. I mean, so I have contact with Spanish every day. But the hardest thing for me to do is to sit down and read something. And so that's why I made that a goal, because it's something that is hard. But yeah, you mentioned all over the place. And then I think natural, let me look at this again. Natural Tay, sorry. I'm saying your naturally Tay. Sorry. Now I'm actually saying your name right. You've been all over the place as well. And then you started back with your teacher through Italki. That's good. So you have accountability with someone else, which has been helpful to me. And I think that's one of the cool things with First 1,000 Hours, and not just with First 1,000 Hours, but other YouTube channels or language groups or something like that. When you have accountability, when you can talk to other people about what you want to do, when you have other goals, when you can talk to other people about your goals and they can encourage you to meet those goals, then that is really helpful. And can you imagine, or can you believe that we are 1/4 of the year finished with 2019? And so when I think about that, I'm like, wow, time is going to move. I'm getting older. I already turned, I turned 34 years old. So, I mean, time is moving. And so I want to capitalize on that time. But hey, the good thing is if we can recognize, okay, well, we're all over the place, or we're not meeting maybe some of the goals we have. Well, we still have time in this year. It's early in the year to assess some of the things that we want to do, and then, make revisions and change them so that, we can still do better in the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter of this year. And these are some other highlights I had. When I talk to myself in Spanish, it's easier to express myself in Spanish. So I don't know if you saw my video where I was talking to myself in Spanish. Talking, I guess, to myself. I wasn't talking to anybody else, but I recorded myself talking in Spanish, and I have a 5-minute video of me doing that. So you might want to see that. It's not perfect Spanish. I'm not trying to portray myself as a perfect Spanish speaker. I'm just someone that's going through the language learning marathon, and I wanted to share my journey. And I'm also much more comfortable with listening and watching things in Spanish versus this time last year. And it was last year around like the end of January of 2018 that I got serious about watching things in YouTube. And so that was helpful because Connie was suggesting to me, hey, Franklin, it's good to watch things in YouTube. And the nice thing with YouTube is they have a lot of videos have auto-generated Spanish subtitles. So at least, I can understand more of the context. If I can understand a little bit about reading, then reading really helps me with comprehension, and I would watch the videos with Spanish subtitles. And so I think right now in the first 1,000 hours, I have a list of maybe 130 videos I've watched in Spanish, and I've watched more videos than I put on first 1,000 hours. But there is progress, and so like what Kina was just saying, it's like sometimes we don't see that progress, over a year time, but when you look every day, things add up. Every week, things add up, and then over time, it's a lot better. And then, so another thing that I think is a highlight for myself is I've been listening already to the audiobook that I want to read as well, Desire of Ages. And this book is I've been listening to it, and I will put a link to the book in the audiobook if you want to listen to it as well. But the cool thing about this is I'm actually able to understand a lot of what I'm listening to. Now, I've already read the book in English, so I have context, but it's one thing to read a book in English. It's another thing to listen to that book in Spanish, because I know when I was reading my first Spanish book, Steps of Christ, in Spanish, I had no clue as what I was listening to, basically. I was listening, yes, that's correct, Naturally Taste by Ellen White. And so when I listened to Steps of Christ, before really reading that book, I understood about 5% of the book, the first chapter. It was just confusing. But now, even before reading in Spanish, my comprehension has improved a lot. And so it's going to increase a lot more when I actually read the book or read a chapter and then listen to it, because that's just how it works. So I personally believe reading is the foundation of language learning, but obviously that's just one thing to do. It's not the only thing I want to do. And so, like I said, I want to give another progress update in June 2019. So that's just 3 months from now. And if you don't already know, but if you check out other videos that I've done, I try to be very responsive to comments, and I might not respond to you the same day. Sometimes what I do is I try to give very thoughtful comments. Maybe some of them might not be so long or detailed, but I try to give thoughtful comments because I want to, as much as possible, encourage you and inspire you on your language learning marathon. And I don't know if y'all have any more things to say, but hey, I'm glad that y'all just were here for the live stream. This is my first time, my second time doing this for first 1,000 hours. And I'm sorry about my video quality. I'm just using the phone I have. I mean, honestly, first 1,000 hours is a lot about using what I have. I mean, I've been doing very simple stuff, but hey, I'm able to continue to go and do something at least. And I want to thank you both for joining me on this live stream. And hey, maybe we'll see each other in the comments and everything like that. And I will talk with y'all later if you have nothing else to say. And again, if you are watching this replay, I would like to know, how did you do with your language learning goals or goal in 2019? And again, if you haven't already done this, please go and watch the video where I was talking about have big goals for 2019. My name is Franklin, and this is for 1000hours.com.